There's the new announcement. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. I really appreciate the time that you're willing to spend, and an important topic. Hopefully my goal for this afternoon is to be able to add some value, to be able to teach a little bit and have some strategies that you can walk away with that will allow some of that head noise that exists for all of us to start diminishing for each and every one of you. So it's almost 2 years ago, I was at a networking meeting, and the presenter was talking about business. And some of you also know the presenter. It was Teresa Romaine talking about business. I can't remember most of what she was talking about. Quite honestly, I don't think that was the point of it at all. But she was talking about a big wheel, one of those big wheel tricycles, and I love big wheels. And she talked about how business was like a big wheel tricycle. You had a small wheel on the back. That was the logic of your business, the thinky business plan, understanding kind of part of your business. And over here on this side, the other small wheel on the back was intuition. That was the intuitive, gut-led, heart-led part of your business. But then you had the big wheel. And as she was talking, I could just feel my energy building and building and building and building. And the head noise and the chatter was going for me. She talked about how the big wheel was the God wheel, the source, bigger than us, that could make our business go. Because, see, I had done the logic, smart business before. I was in the process of working with the Endotype formula. I had already been working with it for about 3 years. And so I had done the intuition piece. And then she was like, the big wheel is the God wheel. And I was like, I don't think that's missing either. Like, I think I have all of that. So why isn't it working? And the energy was just palpable. So after her presentation, I walked over. She had visited with a few people, and I walked over to her and I was like, yeah, so the big wheel, and at that point, I officially started speaking dolphin. I was sobbing in the middle of the networking meeting. And she okay, maybe it's time for us to work together again. And I said, okay. The problem I was having at that point was that the head noise around my business was so overwhelming. Here I was building this new thing, and I had all these limiting thoughts that would run through my brain. What if it doesn't work? What if I've just spent the last 3.5 years building this whole system and it's all just a joke? It doesn't work at all. What if I build my business, right? I throw down and I build this business and I lose myself again. I had done that before with my previous business and prioritized everybody else and everything else to the point where when that business finally closed, I was so happy because I could start being me again. What if I just buckled down and did the hustle again and I still couldn't make any money? And I was still always in the struggle to make ends meet. What if this big idea that I'd been playing with for the last 3.5 years wasn't done developing yet? Because, see, I'd done that over the last 3.5 years. I discovered oh, it's this. Oh, no, it wasn't done delivering. So I'd done probably 3 or 4 different rollouts of businesses and concepts and programs that I thought the Endotype was. What if it's all that again? And I was so locked up that here's Teresa talking about a big wheel, and I'm just like, I can't handle it anymore, right? It just all spilled all over everywhere. What does the head noise inside of your head sound like? What are some of the names or some of the experiences that you call head noise? What I have found is that a lot of people call it a lot of different names. They and don't realize that really what they're talking about is head noise. So this is one of those audience participation parts. If you want to take yourselves off mic or off mute, what are some of the things that you call all that chatter inside of your brain? Yep, just go ahead.
The critical thoughts.
Yep, critical thoughts. Susie?
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Yeah.
Head trash.
Head trash. Nice. Nice. You know what I called it for a while? I called it stress. Oh, I'm under stress.
Mm-hmm.
I called it anxiety. I called it, go ahead.
Brain dump.
Brain dump. Yeah. I called it confusion or stuck. I'm stuck.
I got one. Mental goblins.
There you go. Yeah. Those mental goblins that come and chatter at you all night long. Anxiety, scarcity. That's another thing we'll call it, scarcity. Yeah. So all of those things, you all have an experience of what head noise is like. Here's the question. What's the price that you have paid or are paying for that head noise? Lindsay, I see you.
Physical exhaustion. It takes a lot of energy to deal with that. And confusion. It kind of gets you off track. Sometimes I find like you're spending all your time on something that's just like not even real.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else have a share?
I'll say not building relationships.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Dawn, I saw you.
I would say like lack of confidence, or missing out on opportunities.
Yes. Yes. Those opportunities. All of those things. There's a book. I'm not going to put my name on it right now or my finger on it right now. And he's like led in this dream state to this room that's full of all kinds of crazy cures and millions of dollars and cars he's never seen exist. And he asks, he's like, what is this place? This is the place of missed opportunities. Think about all of the things that one idea that you had back 10 years ago that pretty soon you saw in reality, like that's a real thing now. I was talking to somebody the other day and she said, oh, I had the idea for Stitch Fix before Stitch Fix was a thing. But her head noise, her limiting beliefs told her, you can't do that. You don't have any money. Like Max said, the relationships, the dates we didn't go on, those strained, right? Because, right, over time, we get those strained relationships with some of the people in our lives that it's like, I just don't even want to reach out and reconnect and try and rekindle this relationship. It's those relationships, it's businesses, it's parenting. You cannot, any of you parents cannot tell me that parenting, you do not have some head noise come up around parenting. Like, how much therapy will my children need? Right? We pay a huge price for head noise. So the question we're going to address today is how can we stop it? The Endotype formula is like a window into our brain. I say it's kind of like I can grab somebody's head and screw off the jar, lid of the jar, look around, see what's in there. Okay, put it back on and just see what's inside. And the Endotype formula helps me to see inside the mind of each of the endotypes and does have the solution for head noise for each of us. But before we go there are some essential principles. There's 5 facts I basically need for you to understand before we can move forward and you can really apply even or understand what the solution to head noise is. So we're going to talk about those 5 facts. How have you tried to fix head noise in the past?
Ignore it.
Ignore it. There you go. Yep. Ignore it.
Take a nap.
Kind of, yep. Yep. There you go. Yep.
Run away.
Run away. It falls into this resistance camp or this be with it camp, right? Journaling, therapy, working with a coach, working on your self-love, being preventative, focusing your mind on the good, right? Because when we focus our mind on the good, maybe we won't hear the bad. Whether it is this ignoring or reframing, trying to overcome, right? Both of those things are really resisting the head noise. We're trying to push it away. We're trying to stop it. We're trying to put earmuffs on our brain so we can't hear our own thoughts. There is a personal growth principle that I was taught that I found to be very true. And that is what you resist persists. So what you push away comes back more intense. What you say no to, and you direct all your energy towards like, no, I hate it. All that energy that you have going to it grows, right? And expands. So when we're in resistance, that head noise persists. And I know each of us is in resistance to head noise because you call it terrible names. You've already gone through the names of what you've called it. Inner critic, the brain goblins, imposter syndrome, victim mentality, my people-pleasing self, limiting beliefs, my wounded child, my judgmental critic. You realize you're talking about yourself, right? Like you are talking about a piece of you that's inside of you and you're calling it terrible names. It reminds me of this what you resist persists. We lock into a relationship with it. Whenever I think about this locking into a relationship thing, I think about those eagles. I don't know whether they are fighting or mating or whatever, but eagles and hawks, sometimes they'll do that death spiral thing where the two of them will come together and they'll grab talons. And at that point, neither of them can fly correctly. So all of a sudden they are just falling to earth in this big old death spiral. That's what we do with our head noise. We lock in with it. By calling it all these terrible names, we start resisting it. And the only way for these eagles to break free, right, to save themselves is at the last minute, they unlock from it and then they can both fly away. They're free. You've locked into your beliefs about head noise like an eagle. Fact number one that I need for you to understand today is that you've created beliefs about your head noise. You already have them. In order for you to learn something new today, you have to just for a moment, maybe it's just for the span of this hour, release those beliefs and be open to hearing or learning something a little bit different, seeing something in a new way. These voices in our head, these thoughts that we have are not bad or negative or wrong like you have believed. Now I hear some of you going, but Laura, mine are really negative. They say mean and terrible things about me to me. I understand that. I get it. Let me help you understand it through a story, right? As a mom, I get called mean sometimes. It's not because I am mean. Now, that's not to say I'm never mean, right? But when we had this beautiful morning routine before we were virtual schooling. My kids have to be down at the bottom of the hill at the elementary school at 7:15 so that my high schooler could catch a bus over to the high school. We would wake up every day at 6 a.m. Time to get up. 6:15. Seriously, get out of bed, right? I would call out the time about every 10 minutes. I have one son who's pretty good about waking up and getting going. I have another son who's really not a morning person at all. And so at 7:00, right, we have to be down the hill at 7:15. We need to be in the car somewhere between 7:07 and 7:10 in order to make it on time for the bus. At 7:00, I'm like, okay. Lunch and shoes and coat. And they'd say, I had a dream last night and there were clouds. And I'd say, stop. Okay. Yeah, great. Super. Let's talk about that in the car. Okay. Lunch and shoes and coat. Let's go. His touches don't touch me. Stop it. Okay. Shoes. Put on the shoes. We need shoes on and out the door now. You're being mean. And then they'd go even slower. I swear to you, they would go even slower. We've really, really enjoyed virtual schooling because this beautiful routine has now been broken. But here's the point. Was I being super mean because I wanted my children to wear shoes in the wintertime, to have a coat on so they don't freeze at the bus stop, and to have a lunch at noon when they get hungry? No, I wasn't being mean. The challenge was my kids had gotten into this pattern of ignoring me. Here's fact number 2. Just like that mom experience, our thoughts are there to benefit us. Our thoughts are guiding us and protecting us and working for us. How do I know that? Personally, I believe we are designed. I believe we are amazingly designed. The Endotype formula, I think, shows us how we are designed. But I think that there was a bigger, higher power behind that design. If that's true, then why would he put these pieces of us inside of us that are just there to screw us up? Now, maybe you don't believe in the design model. Maybe yours is this idea of evolution, right? But if we think about it that way, right? Evolution is we keep getting better and better, more and more efficient, right? To work better, to work more efficiently. So once again, why are these thoughts there and ever persistent if it's designed to work effectively? Because they are effective. They're trying to do their job. Now, I hear some of you who are like, yes, but we were designed and we were wired for the predator experience, right? Laura, there's no more dinosaurs chasing us, but my brain still thinks there are. Laura, I don't have to run down a buffalo, otherwise I don't eat this winter. I just drive my happy car to Culver's and I'm good, but my brain still thinks it is. Most of us don't even have to override our self-protective instincts and like work out in dangerous environments or inclement weather, right? Maybe policemen, crab fishermen. But for a lot of us, we sit in a very comfy chair. I have my air conditioning, right? Fridge full of food. We're good. And I hear you like, but my brain is still wired differently. I have this lizard brain part, the monkey mind part, our caveman tendencies. Again, notice the terrible names that we call this head noise. We are locked into the relationship. As long as we continue, we got to go back to fact number 1. We have beliefs. This is showing us some of those beliefs that we have about this head noise, that it's all bad, inefficient, not working for us. So let's accept fact number 2, that our thoughts are working for our benefit. Why do they seem mean then? Because we've locked in to that relationship. Let's go back to the kids. I wasn't being mean to my kids. My kids believed I was being mean. They had started a pattern, a habit of ignoring me. This is the third fact. We are in a pattern of resisting or ignoring our thoughts. Because of our culture, because of our family growing up, because of where we live, maybe, we have learned to shut down our feelings, right? Suck it up, buttercup. Boys don't cry. Don't be a girl, right? That all means shut down your feelings. That's code for shut down your feelings. And we've especially learned to shut down anything that is fear related. I was born in the 70s, lived through the 80s and 90s, and I had the shirt and the t-shirt that both said, no fear, right? Feel fear and do it anyways. Do it afraid. Or, right, how many of Midwestern parenting, right? I grew up and your parent was getting all up, like disciplining you, and you started to get afraid and you started to cry. Mine would say, you gonna cry? I'll give you something to cry about, right? So you learn to suck up that fear. It's not okay to feel fear. The solution for a lot of this head noise is we have to understand and we have to develop a new way of interacting with our feelings, because the head noise is coming from our feelings, especially fear. Fact number 4 is fear is underneath all of our head noise. Think about it. Imposter syndrome sounds like, who do you think you are? What's under that? Fear. Fear of not enough, fear of doing it wrong, fear. Confusion or stuck. I just don't know what to do. There's so many options. Which one? What's underneath? Fear. Fear of doing it wrong. Fear of not being qualified. Fear of doing it wrong and other people being mad or rejecting you. Underneath perfectionism, underneath our inner saboteur, fear is underneath all of that. For most of us, we would define fear and we think of fear as that really yucky feeling, right? It comes up in your body. It's the yucky feeling. But what is fear really? The way I understand it, fear is like the warning light in my car. When that warning light in my car comes on, right, and it says like, check engine soon, I have never been like, yay, check engine soon, like, yes, right? It's always a little bit like, oh, crap. All right. And I'm very grateful that they exist. I'm very grateful that the warning light is there. The warning light is beneficial. Fact number 5 today, fear is beneficial. Our go-tos, our choice that we get to make when that warning light goes on, think about it. When the warning light goes on, we either get to ignore it or respond to it. And they'll have very different outcomes, right? And then I have to also know how to respond to it. So when my low tire pressure warning comes on, I don't swing through the gas station, fill it up with gas, and then down the road. That's not an appropriate response, right? I have to address the actual challenge. I have to know how to address that actual challenge. In order to stop head noise, we must stop ignoring fear. We have to start understanding what fear really is and learn how to respond to it. So we're going to take a little pause here, and I'm just going to do a quick screen share. We're going to review. These are the 5 facts about head noise. You've created the beliefs about your head noise. Our thoughts are there for our benefit. We are in a pattern of resisting or ignoring our thoughts. Fear is the cause of all the head noise, and fear is beneficial. These are our main facts to be able to accept to move forward. Now, based on what I've shared so far, anybody have like a big question, don't quite understand? We'll open this up. If you have something you want to ask, now's the time to do it.
I just want to learn more. Like, how is fear a good thing? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Absolutely. I understand. I get it, because we have created, because for so long we've been cultured, right? It's like a lot of my, so my husband's family, my husband, right? We're not married anymore, but the husband's family was from northern Wisconsin. And I loved sushi. I introduced my husband to sushi. We introduced them to sushi. Not sashimi, the raw fish, right? It was like a nice little California roll. It was just the rice, cooked crab. It was very nice. They wouldn't even try it. They liked crab. They liked rice. They liked all the ingredients, but sushi. They had been cultured that sushi was gross because the idea for them of eating raw fish was gross. And it is for some people, but not because they know that that's true. It's just because it's a cultural thing. So with us, we need to start accepting, maybe fear's a good thing. And then we can start redefining our relationship. And we'll talk about some places and some ways to be able to redefine that relationship. Any other big ahas or questions so far? All right, we're doing good. All right. So then we need to start figuring out how to reframe fear. We need to look at it differently. We need to see it differently. And we need to understand it, like go back to the beginning and start understanding it differently. So I want to paint a picture for you. I want you to imagine like an inner city Chicago, inner city New York apartment, right? Maybe it's a questionable neighborhood. And the person is very concerned about safety. So inside their apartment, if you look at their door, they have 4 different locks on their door, right? They have the little chain lock that, you slide across. They have one of those flip across locks like you have at the hotels. They have the deadbolt, and they have the little lock on their doorknob, all 4 locks to be able to keep themselves safe, because the world seems like it's a really scary place where they live. That's their experience. Now, ding dong, somebody's at the door. What I've learned is that a lot of people have different responses to their doorbell going off. For some, their response is like, hit the deck. Everybody like, hush. Let's pretend we're not home. I'm not wearing pants. My apartment is dirty. It is not cool. I don't want to answer the door. They just freeze. For others, there's this feeling of like, I am in the middle of something. Who is at my door? For myself, if my doorbell rings here, my first immediate reaction is, what did I order off of Amazon? Like, who's bringing me something cool? I don't remember what I ordered. That is my initial reaction. So we're going to go back to that apartment, and on the other side of the door, there's an Amazon package waiting for you. There's something really cool that you ordered. Maybe it's your birthday and your friend said, hey, I'm sending you a package. It should arrive today. right? There's something really cool on the other side of that door. What do you have to do to access the really cool thing? Unlock the door, right? Unlock the door. And that's it. Fear and that feeling that comes up inside of us, that's the doorbell. Ding dong, ding dong. The endotype formula has shown me that on our protective side, the part that wants to make sure that we're well taken care of, there are 4 different elements to that part of us, to our subconscious brain, that the sole job is to give us warnings, to look out for us, and to protect us. It's to inform us, to help us make great choices. Those are like the 4 locks on the door. The package waiting on the other side is that really informative message that our subconscious, unconscious brain wants us to have. Because we don't really listen well proactively a lot of the time, right? It uses what tools it has. And one of the main tools it has is the doorbell, is fear. All of a sudden, we're having this feeling and this experience that we for such a long time have associated with a bad thing. What I'm asking you to start doing is to associate it as the messenger, the doorbell. But see, even if you start doing that, what happens if you never unlock the door? Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Fear just continues to be present. That's the experience that you're having when you're stuck in the head noise. There is a subconscious message ready for you to unlock that is beneficial, that is valuable, that moves you forward, that provides answers. But you're stuck because you don't know how to answer the door, right? There are, let me screen share here again. There are 3 steps to getting your message. These are steps that you can apply even if you don't understand your endotype formula. Step number 1, don't ignore the bell. Don't ignore your fear. It's not going to go anywhere just because you're ignoring it. It's not going away. The second step is to remove the tone. Remove the tone. So what does that mean? Well, we've already talked about imposter syndrome quite a few times here. Imposter syndrome oftentimes sounds a little bit like, do you really think you can, right? Again, those of us who have had kids, we understand that there's a tone that our kids can get. They can say like, all right, or they can go, all right, right? One of them doesn't mean all right. So you've been hearing these voices in your head in a specific way with a specific tone. Do you really think you can do this? Now, what if you change the tone? What if you assume that it doesn't already come with its own tone? You're adding in and coloring in the tone. It could sound like this. Do you really think you could do this? Suddenly, it sounds a whole lot less questioning and menacing and more excited, more wanting to edify you, right? So you need to stop adding in and coloring in with that tone. And then you need to learn skills to unlock the door. There are many, many programs out there that will help you unlock fear. There are coaches and therapy and coaching programs and books. And it's not just the Endotype formula. Yes. Am I partial? Correct. I am partial to the Endotype formula because I think that it really helps because it identifies all 4 of those components and all 4 of those locks, but it is by far not the only solution. There are a lot of solutions out there. And so as you go exploring and looking for ways to continue to unlock the door, there are a few things that you need to be cautious of. The first thing that you need to be cautious of is if that solution, right, is framing fear negatively still. So if your solution is still framing it as overcoming imposter syndrome, push through, move through, if it's framing it negatively, then what it is reinforcing is this locked in, right, belief system that somehow fear is a bad thing to be done away with, instead of a warning to be answered, a doorbell to be answered. So if they're still framing it negatively, they're still in that space of being locked in to how fear looks. The second thing to be cautious of is if one solution works for everyone. So if it's like, well, just do this. There's my solution. Just do this. That is not going to work. The Endotype formula has shown me that there are 16 different personality types. We each experience fear and what that looks like and sounds like in our head and in our body very differently. So it doesn't mean there needs to be 16. There are within the Endotype formula, but as long as they're addressing it in a unique way, right? Allowing you to figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Be cautious if it's a one size fits all, and be cautious if it is overly complicated. Answering the door doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, it's pretty easy. And so if it becomes really complicated with a lot of other solutions, what ends up happening is it just adds to the head noise. It just adds to the blah, 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 blah that's already there, instead of just simply unlocking that door. That's what you need to look for, is ways that you can easily unlock the door. Now, each of us has a unique fear formula, and we're not able to get into all of that today. I hope that these different things, whether you choose to explore the Endotype formula a little bit more, or whether you choose to explore using a different tool, I hope that this has started to help. Even if it's just those 5 facts that you walk away with, to be able to understand, that's important. Fear is beneficial. When you have that feeling come up, remind yourself of that one fact. Fear is beneficial. Okay. Now, I am going to tell you about a program that I have that helps you unlock those 4 fears and helps you unlock them really quickly. I am hosting in July. Oops, extra slide. I forgot about this one. The Endotype formula is the way that we're designed. And so it holds the key to each of the locks that keeps us in fear. It's specific. It's personalized based on how you work, based on your endotype. So all back to that apartment, all 4 of those locks have a specific way you unlock it. And if you knew it, you could access the messages that fear is trying to bring you so easily. That's what we're going to do at the Live Your Unique Design event. July 23rd and 24th. It's a virtual event. Friday afternoon, and then it's a full day on Saturday. Each of you will receive your fear formulas. You will uncover the 4 basic fears we all have. The 4 fears, the 4 locks, they're the same for each of us. Our experience of them is different. So where I may have a fear around, maybe it's around feeling like I'm too vocal. I've been told my whole life I'm too vocal. I need to sit down and shut up. So I have a fear around using my voice. For somebody else, it might be a fear of visibility. They've been told, people, like, you do not need to, like, just blend, just blend. And how is that fear then? What's the price you're paying for blending in instead of standing out, instead of standing up? At this event, we will also practice applying your fear formula, and you'll feel fear dissolve into the true message. When we walk away at the end of this event, you will walk away with your fear formula that you will be able to continue to use ongoing. You do not need a coach to walk you through it. You simply need to remember to utilize the formula, to remember to utilize the system. A couple of the people who have already experienced the fear formula, I asked them to let me know what it felt like. Angela said, it felt like she immediately uncovered what the root of my fear was. I got the message. It was as if a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and I no longer had any anxiety or was afraid of the outcome. I was left in peace. Teresa says there was an immediate click, an immediate opening, and an immediate yes. The fear was gone. I was back in my power. I moved forward on the idea, and it was a blast. For some people, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And Nikki did not know I had her pictures today, but this is a surprise for you. Nikki did a session with me the other day and said that I could share it. So I could share her the beginning. We worked through 2 of her fears, utilizing her fear formula. It was a very short conversation, the beginning and the end. The lightness, the energy, the ease, the peace that's back in her face and in her eyes. She was fired up to be able to move forward. So that is what you can expect. Little bit of information on the July event. Early registration ends June 30th. So what does that mean? It means the tickets are going to go up by about $70. I am going to, let me see here. So it is a virtual event. I think I mentioned that. There's lots of interaction and breakouts throughout the course of the day. I'm going to drop into the chat room a link to that fear event. Hang on, let me get out here so that you can check out all the details. And then we're going to do some Q&A from today and get all of your questions asked. Let me just drop this in. Nope, that's not the right one. All right, here we go. There you go. So in the chat is the link to the July event. A couple of the questions I've gotten about the July event. We will be recording Friday. Friday is, again, a lot of learning. And for some people, it's like, I don't get off work till 5 o'clock. We're going to record the Friday session so that if you need to watch it after work, right, you need to watch it 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, that's fine. We're not going to be recording the Saturday session for you to just watch, right? Because it's interactive. That whole day, we're working with your fear formula. So you really do need to plan to be in attendance for at least the Saturday session live. That is important. I think that was all the questions I've gotten. So now, questions about today and about the 5 facts, the 3 different, things to remember about fear. What can I help you to understand a little bit better?
Laura,
Yes, Dawn.
What if you can't attend because of conflicts for that weekend? Is there another option for people?
I am looking at doing the fear event again in October. Likely it will be October 22nd and 23rd. That's penciled in on my calendar right now, so don't hold me to that date, but that is when I'm thinking it's going to come around again.
Sure. Are there other things that we can do besides that? I know you mentioned a meeting with Nikki the other day. Is there other options?
Oh,
for
absolutely.
people
Yeah,
sooner,
absolutely.
say?
Yeah. If you want to
Getting all the
connect,
questions answered here. Sorry.
if you want to connect with me, and we could schedule in a session or two to be able to help you understand your fear framework for sure. The other thing that I'll put out there is if you know of any coaches who you think that the fear framework might be beneficial for, this is one of the tools that I'm putting into the hands of the coaches. There will be a training actually after the July event for coaches to be able to start utilizing the fear formulas with their clients. So they'll be able to have access to the quiz and understand how to work with their clients to release their clients from fear too. So that's the other place I'm looking.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for being with me today. I hope, Susie, I just saw you take yourself off mute. Was it a question or a snide remark?
Maybe a little bit of both. No, I just wanted to thank you. I'm interested in doing the one-on-one because I can't make either of the other ones. So.
Okay, sounds good. We'll set something up. Yeah. If there's any way, you guys will get a copy of this recording emailed over to you. And for a few of the other people who registered but couldn't attend live, they will also see that. If you feel like there's somebody that maybe would benefit who's kind of stuck in all that head noise, feel free to share it forward. But thank you for sharing an hour of your time with me today. I really appreciate it. I hope it helped. And if I can help anymore, reach out, send me a message, send me an email, and we will connect and get you set up. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day.